So welcome to Ports and in this session, we'll be looking at the physical requirements and documentation for consignments. Most of the things we discussed already, but we'll still look at a few things like the document that you need to include in your when you are exporting or importing things. So we'll focus our discussion today on that. So we move. Just to share my screen now. Okay, so here we go. Physical requirements and documentation for consignments. That's going to be our discussion for today in this session. So my name is Fanuel, and we'll spend a few minutes on this. So in this session, we'll look at warehousing for consignment and documentation for international consignment. So warehousing, basically, we're looking at a large commercial building where consignments are stored before they are shipped or delivered to their legal owners. And warehouses may come in many forms. You have the received goods warehouse, where you keep goods that are coming into the company. And then we have damaged goods warehouse. It's a special warehouse for goods that are damaged, so it's easy to return them or refurbish them or whatever happens to them. Then we have bonded warehouse. Very important. Bonded warehouse are normally operated by the customs operations, where they keep goods that are needed to be transported. That are yet to be ascertained for tax purposes. Okay, or goods that have been seized for breaches. And then we have consumables warehouse, where you keep things like toiletries and other things that you need in your organization. So let's look at the bonded warehouse in detail. The customs bonded warehouse is very important because it plays an important role in international ports and custom operations. So custom bonded warehouse are normally controlled by the customs authorities or by the state. Of course, individuals may want to set up bonded warehouse, but they can only own it. It is the customs officials who would take management and security over those warehouses. So we have emerging concept of lean warehouse, where we are now beginning to think that we don't need to have big warehouses where a lot of things are stored for several days. So the idea is that we want to have very small amount of goods in the warehouse, so they come and go at short intervals. So we don't have a lot of them. Which is a common for a just-in-time system we want to introduce, which is really good for it reduces costs. There are some documentations that we'll look at here: the consular invoice, the commercial invoice, the certificate of origin, certificate of value, bill of lading, health certificate, cargo manifest or packing list, import license, insurance certificates, and export declaration forms. Some of these we look at already under freight management, but I'll still look at them briefly again here. So consular invoice is normally an invoice that is demanded and presented to the consular of a country where the goods are going to be imported, and the importing country, yes. So when you are exporting goods to, let's say, from Ghana to Nigeria, the consular invoice will be demanded by Nigeria because that's where the goods are going to. Okay, so it's just like when an individual is traveling, you have to present your documents to a consular for them to approve of your travel. Basically, this is what is required by some countries, where you need to prepare the consular invoice. It can also be used to ascertain taxes, because the consular invoice also describes the goods you are transporting and the values. Then commercial invoice is the invoice that is given by the producer or the supplier to the customer. Then you have the certificate of origin, which is telling us about where the goods have been produced, so that you can say made in Ghana or made in China, or that there are some percentages that are required for international trade tariff assessment. And after, for example, they are considered about 70% national content in the rules of origin. So certificate of origin will say, okay, this good is produced in Ghana, and that may qualify as made in Ghana only if about 70% of everything or the contents is made in Ghana. So these are some of the things we can look at. The certificate of value. So it's also a document that provides some legal guarantees to the commercial invoice issued by the exporter to the importer. What happens is that sometimes the importers and the exporters may provide certain documentation that may not necessarily be authorized. There can be sometimes a way that customers or international traders may want to dupe the states by providing wrong information, undervaluing of consignment, for example. So there are some guarantees that are required in some countries to ensure that they are given them the right thing, and this is captured in the certificate of value. You have the bill of lading, which is a document provided by the shipping company to the exporter, describing the consignments, the consignees. It provide all the information, the date of shipping and when it's arriving and how they can get it and all that. Yeah. Then we have health certificate. Normally, I mentioned earlier about phytosanitary certificate. This is a certificate that helps to give assurances to people or consumers or the exporters or importers about the quality of the goods, or no, normally for plants and animals. Yeah, that did not go through the Ghana, international standardization. Phytosanitary or health certificate is sometimes required. Sometimes too, when you are traveling to Africa from other part of the world, or I think traveling within Africa, even from anywhere, you are coming to an African country, they may require yellow fever vaccination certificate and all that. These are all health certificates that may be applied to passengers. But most of the time, these certificates we are looking at when you're moving plant products and animals, you need some certificate to show that they are safe for eating, for example. And we have cargo manifest or packing list, which talks about how the items are being packed or arranged in the cargo. And so if you are receiving 10 tons of 10 metric tons, for example, of cocoa from Ivory Coast, and then or from Ghana, then you want to, they can tell you, okay, these 10 tons are arranged like this, like this. So you know where exactly your goods are in the cargo and all that. It also helps to know sometimes that some goods may be offloaded before yours because of where they are located in the ship. We have the difference between cargo manifest and the bill of lading. So the cargo manifest normally talk about the physical aspect of the cargo and how it works, the weight and size of the things, how they arrange the cargo. But the bill of lading talks more about the ownership of the goods. So this good, maybe 10,000 tons of cocoa is consigned to Mr. A or Madam A in this country. That's about bill of lading. And even though they may have similar information, they have different purposes. Insurance certificate, insurance for domestic freight in Ghana is not compulsory, but for international freight it's required. So you need to work on that. So the certificate of insurance or insurance certificate is issued by an insurance company to the exporter or the importer, whoever is insuring it, and providing assurance that they will take charge in terms of certain eventualities that are stated in the or on the certificate. Then export declaration form. So when your exports come, when your goods arrive at the port, you need to get the export declaration form. In Ghana now, you can even declare your export before the goods arrive, and then they can based on that they can ascertain if there are any taxes or tariffs you need to pay, and then you can pay them and get your goods. Then import license. There are certain goods that will require specific import license in Ghana. For example, in Nigeria, I think there was a time importation of rice, for example, was banned. So if you need to import to that country, you need to get a special license. So you need to check if you are moving goods from one point to another, whether you need a license to import certain goods or commodities. That will be very, very important. That ends it for today and in this session. Thank you.